Thank you for listening to Pal Block Podcast, the flagship Nintendo podcast of Boss Rush Network. Do you need even more gaming and entertainment in your life? Head over to bossrush.net where you can find news, reviews, creators, podcasts, and more focused around the content you enjoy.
Just start talking.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this.
You gotta count down.
Oh, okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Expansion Pass. I'm your host and Light Excited Eddie V. Joining me is Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick.
Hello. It is Expansion Pass time.
Yes, and yes.
I don't know.
You know what? No. I think that's a good thing. Oh, how did we create our signature, like, kind of outro or intro or whatever? You know, when I'm on Power Block, I go woohoo. No, woohoo when I'm closing Power Block.
I mean, the thing is like, I've never, like, only until like very recently I've never been on this end of it to where you introduce me, you know, because like you know, when I was hosting the show, you were the one I was introducing, and then
Yes,
you know, when we were trying to figure out how to best manage Boss Rush, you took over and I was doing other things, and then now I'm back, but I didn't want to take that hosting away from you, right? So you know, it's I don't have a signature thing yet. I just say hello, which is boring, but I'm boring. Surprise!
I mean,
so it's fine.
no, but before me and you met and before we started Power Block, you had your signature Power Block. I can't do it.
Oh, Power Block, like the old Power Block, like when I was when I was doing stuff with DNA and nobody wanted to talk Nintendo stuff, I did a 15-minute, like, PAL block was like a Nintendo block for our YouTube channel for that channel, and Joey was doing it with me. That was, oh my god, that was so long ago. I think the very first question was, why is Twilight Princess a good Zelda game? But yeah, sometimes I forget about all the stuff that we've done and I've done and everything. It's just, man, this is wild.
Yeah, it's I think as we continue to record Power Block and everything, we started just doing signature stuff in a sense. And you know, it's kind of funny because at first I'm just like, bye everybody, you know. But then I was just like, you know, for some other reason the bye everybody, woohoo, that just started happening out of the blue because I was just like, I need something to end the show with, like something to have fun with.
Yeah, I mean, Power Block has gone through so many iterations and so many things. I know we kind of have done this for a couple episodes, like just reminiscing and thinking about the show and everything. But like, I finally feel like PAL Block is in the place where we wanted it to be all along, right? Where we do PAL Block and then we do Expansion Pass that gives us our kind of like second episode of the week or whatever. And it just, I don't know, there's just something about hanging out on the show that just kind of makes everything else kind of disappear, even like worrying about Boss Rush or scheduling standard definition episodes, or, you know, making sure we're ahead on certain things or getting everything edited. And it's just like, man, just for just this hour or whatever, we can just kind of like relax and breathe a little bit. Which reminds me, we need to schedule a standard definition episode for ranking Nintendo.
Oh, for the Super Nintendo, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I think it's gives us time to get away and just sometimes, shoot the breeze, have various talks about things, but still, have Nintendo on the mind and get excited, or even when we concerned, there's something about them that we're going to say, or and it always keeps us on the toes. Is it going to happen or is it not going to happen? Are we close to it? What they're going to reveal or not? And it's kind of great to have that feeling, you know. And then it when we get into those deep conversations, or which kind of been a staple of Pop Block, that we have deep, like big and deep conversations where we like really feel like we want to say more and we can't, and then just be like, even when we go our separate ways, and for that night, it always feels like that next day it's just like, I wish we could continue talking about what we just had. you
Yeah.
know
I mean, if
like
we
that.
weren't doing so much, we could probably just record whenever. I mean, we teased for a long time that we wanted to do a daily show.
Yeah, that is
Remember?
true.
Like we were like half joking, but like honestly, if any of the other shows didn't exist, we would probably be doing a daily Nintendo show at some point. Uh, so
Yeah. But our daily, so our sometimes our small, which might also be a staple for Nintendo Power Block, our small little stuff that, yeah, we don't really have much to say on it, because that 10-15 minute topic, it's just be like, what the heck did we just talk about? It's just like, why did we care so much about a spider in like treasure trove or something? Or some generic game? How did we end up having a 10-15 minute talk about that? It's kind of a staple of Pop Block,
hmm
you know.
yeah, it's man, and I just I'm just thinking about episode 300 because I don't know when this episode of Expansion Pass is going out, but 300 is soon, and I can't believe we've done 300 of these things.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so 300 is just such a big number. It's like where or how or why, and it's just I love this show. I love just not caring about what we talk about and just talking, you know. So,
Uh,
anyways, how are you, Ed? How are you feeling?
I'm I'm kind of feeling good. It was um I was thinking about our talk Monday night, and then I hopped on with the crew from Crossroads and having that talk, and just I just been thinking of things uh about our discussion that we had, and it's just like seeing how their usage of video games has literally just fell away. Like, you don't even hear it that much. Um, and it kind of just got me thinking about that. When people really starts taking stuff serious, and people see through all the excuses and everything, placing blame on why something happened never, right now, it's just gonna fall flat on the floor if you don't provide true answers. Whatever you say is not gonna matter. It's not gonna be good enough. And it was just, I literally was at work, and my associate, she was telling me that there was a shooting in one of our like neighborhood cities and everything, and they were just saying that uh that shooting that happened, it was like gang shooting, and it was like with a they caught the people, and the people were 18 and 19. and it was just like, oh wow. The same day that while reading that, the shooting in Tosca was happening. And I was just like, we just talked about this. Like, what in the world is going on? And I don't want to make anybody upset or anything, but it was just the week just really got me thinking about just a lot of things and stuff. And I will say this. I'm glad that, we had the state of play. I'm glad that, we had the Pokemon trailer, and I'm glad that even like with Microsoft, like they got they Pride custom Xbox controller, like seeing that and everything. I'm just like, I'm kind of glad that even though there's a lot going on in this world, there is still some kind of positivity and things I could look forward to that will make me happy. It doesn't take all my cares away or anything, but it just really takes my mind off of things.
It's a good distraction.
Yeah,
it is a good distraction, and I don't know. It just, I've been playing more games lately, or just doing other things recently. Like I've been watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney Plus, which is really good, and it's just been some of this stuff has just been just a good distraction from the things that are going on, because I work in social media, and I probably see more of the stuff than most people do, just by the nature of my job, right? And it's been wearing on me a lot, like since that elementary school shooting. There's been 4 more classified mass shootings that have been publicized, right? Like, yeah, there's the hospital one yesterday, there was one at a funeral today, like it's like, come on guys, just I don't get it. I wish I could like not care about this stuff, but it's hard to not care, and I don't mean that in like a derogatory or a mean way, but I just, the games and our entertainment and our friendship is just like a really nice distraction from everything. Yes. And like what I was telling LaRon and Stephanie last night on Boss Rush, I was like, I worry about you guys all the time, because you guys don't look like me, and for some reason, for some people in specific parts of this country, that is a problem. And that's a problem. And I just, I think about you specifically a lot, because you are my best friend, and I don't, I think you're like the only person that I talk to every day, or at least try to talk to every day, besides my wife, and it's like, man, if something happened to like you or anybody else, that it's just like, what? That's I would just be
emotionally
paralyzed, like right. it would be paralyzing,
I mean, yeah, because I think a lot of people don't realize when friendships are like really built, like true friendships are really built. You really care for the other person. No matter where you're at, no matter how far you are, you really care about the person. That you want to keep in touch with them, because yeah, and like tomorrow was never guaranteed to anybody, and I think that's why when we're talking about Nintendo, when we're talking about Xbox and PlayStation, and we have these discussions and stuff, that yes, we all have our point of view or stuff, but it's always in fun. This is how we like to sometimes discuss things and gather with each other and just have these talks, and it's always about having fun and everything, and checking up on people when you can, because like don't nobody wants to be lonely, and it's hurtful when people get to that point of being lonely.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, you check in on me a lot, Corey, and I make sure that I try to check on you too, and uh, that means a lot. That really is important, you know.
Well, I mean, you're an important person, in my life, and I mean, same goes to Stephanie and LaRon and Jacob and Dan and David and everybody else that we work with. I know I'm forgetting people, but I think people get the idea. Like everybody, even though I don't communicate with everybody every day or once a week or whatever, like it doesn't mean I don't care.
Right.
I'm trying to be more, just because of certain things that are happening in my personal life with people, I'm trying to be more aware of thinking about people or reaching out to people,
Mm-hmm.
and some people say, oh, well, sometimes people don't deserve to be in your life, or if they don't reach out, like, you shouldn't reach out, whatever. I'm like, I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing games. I just want people to know that I think about them and I care and whatever. And if they don't get back to me, that's whatever. But it's been kind of a downer couple weeks, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, not with like my life or jobs or anything. It's just like things that are happening in the world,
Yeah.
It's like I love my job and I love what we do here and I love my friends and my wife and my kids and stuff. It's just there's just a lot going on in the world and it's just scarier and scarier.
Yeah, I think because literally around this time, it's like it's E3 and we're preparing, we're making predictions, we're getting snacks or, you know, we're seeing shows and trying to figure out what's going to be in those shows and stuff. And it's just like the stuff that we we can't do at this time because some things just gotta be canceled, just evolving or changing. But we always kept that spirit of being excited and keeping things fun and whatever problems that's going in the world, we know that it's happening, but at a point in time we get to a breaking point where we're just like we want to have fun. We want to be able to share something positive, bring some light into not only our worlds but to others and stuff, and just have a good time. Um, and that's important. Going back to having a staple of Nintendo Pop Lock, that has always been our thing. It's just to have fun, and it's even when we have those serious conversations, we still want to be able to do those kind of discussions just to give our input to let people know that we're not overlooking some of the things that's going on, but we want to acknowledge that this is a problem and we have opinions and ways that we could try to get involved to somewhat help contribute to fix in a sense.
Yeah.
Because it's important to us. I'm like, we can't have a podcast if there's no one here to have a podcast with.
Right. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough to. I think it's tough to get excited about the things that we get excited over when there's definitely way more important things to be worried about.
Mm-hmm.
And like I also think that it is our job to help people forget about the things that are happening because it could be affecting more people than others.
Yeah.
It could be affecting a lot of people. And so I know we just kind of sat here for 15 minutes or whatever and talked about this stuff, but it's important that we acknowledge it. It's important that we kind of have a message to stand by. But I think it's also important for us to talk about what we love to help others kind of forget their issues or their problems or their worries about the world for an hour to 90 minutes to 2 hours, however long we go,
Yeah.
So
That is true.
that's I think that's the last I'm going to say on that. We've talked an awful lot about this week, and I just want to encourage everybody to stay safe, hug the ones you love, let them know, and there are people striving to make the world better out there, even if it doesn't seem like it right now.
Yes. And, play games that's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
And, we had this discussion before, Corey, about comfort games, and I always talk about it's always weird, as much as a Nintendo fan that I am, I've always, definitely during back in the 16-bit days, my comfort game was Aero Flash and like Streets of Rage 2. It was always going to the Sega Genesis, and I don't know if that ever. I really didn't know what that said about me. I love Sega Genesis and I love Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, and I guess it was just having the best of both worlds that I never just took time to notice, to say that, man, as much as Nintendo played a part of my life in gaming and making me smile and happy, Sega did the same thing too. And it's amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think we could take a little bit time for the state of play. We're not gonna go through the full list or anything.
Yeah.
Anybody?
I mean, there's not really a lot here that Nintendo fans gonna get excited over. I mean, unless you obviously, if you have the other consoles or whatever.
Yes.
I don't really. I mean, I bet Tunic comes to Switch eventually, right? That seems like an easy win.
Yeah. Me, LeRon, Stephanie, and Austin, we had a recap episode talking about it, and I said that PlayStation would get it. I think Switch would get it, but I don't think they're dropping it on September 27th, because I don't think they're gonna show Tunic in a Nintendo Direct. I'm like, LeRon said they'll probably do it in the Indie Direct or the next one, but I'm just like, man, it feels like they will focus more on the Sony version and then later on get into Switch, because Switch just seems like it's the good place to put that game on. But I'm like, I think they want to do physical also with Switch, and have it on as many platforms as they can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think it's like, what, Splatoon, is it before or after Splatoon 3? I think it's after.
Which game is it? What game are you talking about? Sorry.
Tunic.
I don't know. I mean, it's not confirmed for Switch yet, but
no, that's right. But it was just like when people said that. Some people. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I haven't really watched the state of play. I just kind of looked at the highlights, right? And so, I mean, there's certain things that I really want to see Final Fantasy 16. Like, that's what I think, that's the game I was most excited to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks really cool. But I know a lot of people are excited for the Resident Evil 4 remake. It doesn't really do a lot for me. I'm not into Resident Evil, I know a lot of people want a really kind of were looking at the PSVR 2, which is cool, right? I don't know. It just didn't really do a lot for me. Final Fantasy 16 was the big one, and it's not coming till next year, and that's kind of it, you know?
Yeah.
There was that like rollerblading shooting game, right, that they showed too.
Oh, Velodrome.
Yeah. So I don't really know what to think of that, but
Yeah, I was telling the crew, I was just like, man, it makes me think of Aeon Flux from MCV, like that art style, like that cell shading.
yeah.
And I was just, and when Austin he mentioned Sable, I'm like, ooh, that is right. It does have that look to it also.
Gross.
I think it's just
that
like
game
it was
not good.
that game has so much promise, and yeah.
I mean, I get that people like that, but man, no, pass.
Yeah. Well, I know. Like, I think what was good about that state of play was that we at least, like, Sony is speaking. We know what is coming at least this year, and definitely stuff that's coming next year. Because man, like next year is kind of packed. Like Breath of the Wild, Starfield, Redfall, Resident Evil 4 remake, um, that Final Fantasy 16, like, and then we still have Microsoft's showcase, so they may have more for 2023. Like,
I want to see it. I want to see what Xbox has for 2022 first off, because
yes,
they kind of kicked their cans to next year, right, with Starfield and Redfall. I mean, there's a lot of rumors going on about games that will be there, right? And I think they're going to show a lot, and I think there's going to be a couple that come out that sneak out this year, but like, I don't know. I want to see gameplay of stuff, right? And there was that thing that Phil Spencer said at the end of last year where like they were, or at the end of E3 last year, like, if you're gonna be in our showcase, you need to bring gameplay type thing, which makes me hopeful that whatever they show off this year, which I still think they're gonna show a lot of Starfield and a lot of Redfall this year. Like, I mean, those are like two huge games for them. And if they were supposed to come out this year, this was going to be their big gameplay moment, right? So I still think they're going to show a lot of gameplay. I just want to see. I want to see something from Fable. I want to see something from, you know, Gears 6. It's about time for Gears 6 to be announced, right?
Yes.
There's that rumored Gears of War collection that's coming. Like, it's kind of like the Master Chief collection, but it's the first 4 games, I guess, like Judgment 1, 2, and 3, I think. And Unreal Engine 5 and ray traced and 60 to 120 frames, you know, all the bells and whistles for Xbox Series X.
Yes.
So I want to see that. You know, I want to see these games. You know, there's 30 something games in development at Xbox. Where are they? You know, it's nice that you have them announced, but I think they need a roadmap, and that's been their problem. You know, it's okay. We have all these studios. We've purchased all these studios. I mean, we know that Wolfenstein 3 and Indiana Jones are both in development as well. So where are those? I don't know. It's been quite a few years. Like, I mean, it's been what, 2.5 years since Doom Eternal. It might be time to see what it is working on as well. You know, if it's Doom, the third Doom, or I think the rumor right now is Quake that they're working on.
Quake is such a weird one.
I don't know. I think a lot of people like Quake.
Well,
plus, like, if you're trying to make a multiplayer shooter for Game Pass with microtransactions, I mean, that's got that written all over it. You know, season passes and skins, and you know, you could put other Xbox characters in Quake and be like, oh man, it's Doom Guy versus Marcus Phoenix versus Master Chief. You know, like, you could totally do that.
True.
So I think Quake is actually a no-brainer for Microsoft. It just depends on who's working on it. Is it Machine Games? Are they working on that instead of Wolfenstein 3? Or is it id and they're working on it instead of Doom? You know? So
I really have a feeling that I think their last game that they present, I think they're going to be the first one to show that, hey, we got a game planned for 2024.
I mean, they do. It's Everwild and Fable and State of Decay 3. Those are the 3 games that are 2024.
I would be shocked if they are. I think not. I think Elder Scrolls 6 is 2024.
No, not if they push Starfield to 2023. Elder Scrolls 6 is 2026 at the earliest. They don't have a title. They don't have a gameplay.
I would be. Well, that's what I said. Like, I think because we don't know much about it, that they announced that game along with Starfield. So I would figure that that Starfield would drop 23 and Elder Scrolls would drop 24 unless that also get delayed. And then the question is just like
that game is not even in core development yet. That game is not coming out anytime. There's going to be a new Xbox by the time Elder Scrolls comes out.
But I wonder why would they announce it so early?
Because everybody's always asking, where's the next Elder Scrolls game? And they're like, well, we have Avowed and we have Outer Worlds 2 and we have I'm assuming they might have another Fallout game somewhere in between there, like from another developer. So, and we know Obsidian has 3 projects going on. We know 4 technically. We know In Exile has 2 projects going on. Right? It's just, man, we know World's End has a new something or other, like Age of Empires 4 is rumored to be coming to Xbox. There's a lot, man. I don't know.
I think that's
Contraband from Avalanche.
That's what I was about to mention. I actually put a question out there. Not many people responded, or I don't even think anybody responded. I was just like, now that Redfall and Starfield's delayed, is Contraband going to be the game for the holiday to look forward to?
I don't know. We haven't seen any gameplay. I think this Activision deal is going to go through, and Microsoft's going to be like, look, Modern Warfare 2, PlayStation can market it all they want. It's coming to Game Pass because we own it.
Right.
Let's be honest. Call of Duty, the biggest game every year, is going to be Microsoft's big fall game every year.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So.
But then that depends on those teams at Activision getting it ready to come out and stuff.
I know the rumor is they're going to go on an every other year cycle now instead of every year, which will be good. But still, like, you have something ready every other year then.
I wonder if those developers would be like, I just feel like not doing this series anymore.
Well, then they'll go somewhere else, right? That's what they do. That's what Treyarch and Infinity Ward. You go to Infinity Ward because Call of Duty is going to be your bread and butter. Plus, if you ship a Call of Duty game and you put that on your resume, you're going to get hired anywhere else.
Someone left one of the teams and went to Retro.
That's
Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah. Well, where's that game? Gosh, Metroid Prime 4. What a... I don't know. Do we want... So theoretically, I want to... Man, I don't remember. I don't even know when this episode's going out on free feeds because I want to do predictions, but I don't know. Maybe we'll save that for the main show.
Well, this would definitely be out around the time that Microsoft does that presentation.
I guess I could look it up. Let's see. This is
Because Microsoft is, I
No,
think, is
on
the
free
second
feed.
Sunday.
This will be out the week after Microsoft's on free feeds. This would go out the week of on Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Because, yeah. So I mean, I don't want to talk too much either. We'll do it on Monday for the main show, this coming Monday.
Okay.
So I guess if you're listening to this on free feeds, just go look at episode 297 of Nintendo Power Block. Just because I want to talk a little bit about E3. We haven't really talked a lot about E3, man. Like we just, or I mean not just E3, but like Summer Games Fest and Nintendo's kind of. I mean, we've talked about like their lineup and what we expect and stuff, but I want to talk about predictions. I want to talk about their next direct. Will they say anything about a new Mario game or Breath of the Wild 2 or an Metroid Prime remake that's been rumored? You know, I want to really kind of get into that again.
Yes, because I think I think learning stuff definitely from Nintendo for the rest of the year should complete some things. Because like I know when we were talking about it, we were just like, now that we know the date for Pokemon, which would have been the week after Starfield came out, we just don't have anything for December and October, and I think August at this time. I think those 3 months that we just don't have.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like we got Xenoblade 3 in July. We got Splatoon 2, which is actually it's early September. September 9th is the release for Splatoon 3. So it'll be way before Tunic comes out, so that's fine. And then Pokemon on the 16th of November. Like, we at least got those dates. It's just now, where does Bayonetta fall, and what about Advance Wars? Reboot Camp. Like, where do those 2 games fall? Because everything else is pretty much indie or third party if they decide to put some stuff out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Nintendo's going to announce. I think there's going to be a new Mario game announced. I'm starting to think that more and more, and I don't know why, but it's been a while since we had a proper entry for a Mario series, right? I mean, Odyssey was really the last one.
Yeah.
I think people are kind of wanting an Odyssey 2, and I think it makes sense.
But can you think of it like they bringing a Mario game out this year, and Mario and Rabbids?
They did it in 2017.
I know, but man, I think that
they bring out multiple Mario games a year every year. I mean, they brought out like 3D World and Mario Golf, right? They brought out New Super Mario Brothers U and Mario Tennis and Mario Party in the same year, right? Like, they've done it before. Mario is their cash cow, you know?
Yeah. But I was just like, man, out of the blue Mario game.
They did it at E3 in 2017. Mario Odyssey was not known until E3, and it came out that November.
Yes,
or October, I guess. Look, Nintendo just needs. I think they need a splash. I think we've known about everything that's announced for so long already that they need a surprise for E3. Is it 1? Is it 2? I don't know, but they need a surprise, and they need it to come out this year. I think it's either going to be a new Mario game or a port of the Zelda games or that Fire Emblem game we keep talking about. Although the Metroid Prime remake is also rumored, so I don't know. I don't know anymore. I just don't know anymore, guys.
But we want to know. I think we want to know because we want to have a reaction, like an exciting reaction. Yeah. You know, I think that's what we're looking forward to, definitely with Nintendo. Um, because I at this point in time, I don't know if Microsoft is going to put anything on Switch besides like a Minecraft update. I don't know if Sony's going to do anything uh outside of MLB 22 for Switch for Nintendo.
Well, that was an MLB decision. That was not a Sony decision.
Oh yeah.
Do you think Nintendo's gonna have a direct soon?
I think so. Yes.
I mean, my initial thought was like, oh well, they'll just do their direct the Tuesday after Microsoft goes because that's when they always go.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not part of Summer Game Fest. Like Jeff Keighley put out his list yesterday, I think, of companies that are currently participating. Nintendo's not on that list. Like, with
I don't think Microsoft was on that list.
Xbox was on the list.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think their showcase is part of Summer Game Fest. But Xbox is on the list, so they're probably doing something at Gamescom.
It was weird watching that state of play. They showed that Summer Game Fest in the top corner. I'm like, Sony was part of this, or was this just like a surprise that they had?
It was probably like, I don't know. It was probably just. Sony or Keighley is really tight with Sony, obviously too. You know, so maybe he worked out some sort of deal. But where was I going? Oh, Microsoft will probably have a big presence at Gamescom because of all the European games that are in development or games that appeal to them, right? Like Forza, Fable, Everwild, new season of Sea of Thieves,
Stalker 3,
Stalker 2.
Stalker 2.
I don't know about Stalker because that game has been in with the war going on between Russia and Ukraine. That game has been in some development problems.
I remember. I know that it got delayed.
Yeah. I bet that game gets delayed into next year just because of the war. Unfortunately. So, I don't know. I just I think Microsoft is going to have a big presence in Europe this year. I think that Nintendo is going to just be Nintendo, and they're just going to keep putting out trailers, and maybe we'll get a direct. I hope we get a direct, because the summer Nintendo Direct is always so much fun. And if we don't get one, it's just going to be like, okay, no, E3 is one thing. I don't really care about E3. It's just something to point at and say, hey, a direct is probably coming. But also, it would be really sad if Nintendo did not have a direct.
Yeah, if they don't have a direct this month, they got to do something next month. I'm like, man, you got one of the biggest games that people are looking forward to coming out this year.
They could just be waiting until all these kind of conferences / announcements happen, you know? They could just be waiting. Also, Nintendo, when they're not tied to a big event, they don't announce it until like 2 days before anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely just because is Square doing something this year?
I don't think so. I think they are doing the Final Fantasy presentation of some sort because it's the 25th anniversary, I think, of Final Fantasy VII. And I think they're going to probably show a bunch of Final Fantasy stuff. Like, I bet they announced the 1 through 6 for consoles.
The Pixel remasters.
I bet they announce a Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I bet they show more of 16. I bet they kind of show a new expansion for 14. They have a lot going on with Final Fantasy. They might show off DLC for Stranger of Paradise because that game did unbelievably well for them.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
I would be
kind of hilarious.
Yeah, and I would be shocked if Square just said, "Hey, we got some games finally on the NES and SNES, Nintendo Switch Online. Like, play the original Final Fantasy 3 in front and our version of Final Fantasy 2.
Mm-hmm.
But also probably be like, here's Final Fantasy 4 and 5. You know, I think they were on Super Nintendo also.
Yeah, but I think that collection is coming. It's the same reason why you don't see Mega Man on the NES thing, right? Because they're selling it. They're not going to put it on there for free.
Yes.
Sega, I don't know what they're doing because that Genesis collection is way better than their Nintendo Switch Online offerings, and it's only like $20.
Yeah.
Also, the Sonic Origins collection is coming, which is a cool update. We're getting that Cowabunga collection. There's a lot coming to Switch this year that has me excited. You know, especially in June. There's so much in June that I might have to push off Final Fantasy or Fire Emblem Warriors just a little bit, not much, because I want the two Turtles games, and I already got Knights of the Old Republic 2 with the restored ending, and Sonic Origins I think looks great. I will end up getting that at some point. Like, there's a lot. A lot of good stuff coming to Switch.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just
what's the one game you're the most excited for on Switch this year?
Live Alive.
Why?
Because it's a game that I read about in EGM as a kid, and it never came to America. And so I'm excited to play another JRPG that I know about, but just it was one of those games that I wish it touched American soil, and it never did. Like, I was really looking forward to playing this game, and it just never came out. It just went ghost. And so I think now I finally get to play, like, get a new experience with Square's RPG, because I think, like everything else that I know, I have a familiarity because I played previous games that was released for that series, and it just feel like Live Alive is just something so unexpected that I can't wait to play this game that I've always been wanting to play since I was a kid back in the 90s. Because it was one of the games that I think after Chrono Trigger, Live Alive was going to be my plan to play the next one, because I waited for Secret of Mana 3. Now known as Trials of Mana. I waited for that game and it never came. But now that the Mana collection is on Switch, and Trials of Mana got remade, I could go back and, like, experience. Live Alive was something that I just never got a chance to play, and Front Mission. But Live Alive is the one that I can't wait for.
Did you play the remake of Trials of Mana?
Yes, I did.
It's really good. Talk about it at some point? Probably at some point.
We just a little bit, not fully, or anything, but it's a really great action RPG. It's not too hard, like, you'll do some grinding, but it's not too hard to get into. It really is not a bad game. It's really, really good.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah. It kind of was a game that came and went, and everything. And I think it's because if you didn't know the Mana games, like, definitely Secret of Mana, like, if you didn't get to play those games, some people probably wouldn't be, like, in love with it, or be looking forward to play with it. Because I played that Trial of Mana's demo, and I was just like, oh, this is really good. I'm like, this is what a Mana game in 3D really feels like. Like, they did a great job. Just,
Yeah. Okay. Just wondering. I thought about buying it 100 times, and I just didn't. And I didn't know if you thought it was good or not. So
Yeah, I pre-ordered it physically on Switch. I mean, not physically, digitally on Switch because I didn't know if there was going to be a physical version, and didn't nobody had pre-orders up for the physical. So I was just like, you know what, I'll go ahead and do the digital version.
was that one of the games where the physical game came later?
Yeah.
I feel like I remember that coming later, but that might just be me. I don't.
Yeah.
There's so many. Been so many games for Switch that I'm just like, I don't remember. I just don't remember.
Yeah, I know for like collection wise, of course, this is Cowabunga collection. It's because I want to play Turtles in Time so bad.
Yeah, I want to play Hyperstone Heist really bad. I love Hyperstone Heist. I don't think it gets enough. I don't think it gets enough love.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I just think people played more Turtles in Time, whether you went to the arcade or Super Nintendo, right? I don't think a lot of people. I mean, Sega people probably had Hyperstone Heist and were like, "Yeah, this is great," but like, you know, Turtles in Time, man, it's iconic.
Well, for people who know me, I was like, I was the Konami kid. I was a big fan of Konami. So like a lot of stuff that they put out, if I was able to get it, I would go ahead and get it. So definitely that was a shock to me that Konami did a deal with Sega to put their games out on their system. So when Hyperstone Heist came out, I was just like, oh yeah, wherever Konami goes, I'm going. It was like I said, it was only like $20 when it came out.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Right.
Yeah, especially because like a lot of cartridges back then were like $70, $80, and $90. Especially third-party licensed games.
Yeah, KB Toy Store, they was just like the budget games for like a lot of Sega and Super Nintendo games. Like if they were overstocked, they would put them in the bin in the front trying to get rid of them. And that's why I regret that I never got Snatcher for Sega CD, because I didn't have that system.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, with Sega CD, you weren't missing much.
I was Mr. Snatcher. That was good enough for me.
Sewer Shark. Ooh.
Oh. Now that, and to make my video was.
Oh, man, I can't believe we've been going for almost an hour already.
Well, it's like you know, say it's an up and down. Well, no, I won't say it was an up and down episode. It's kind of just us hanging out kind of episode. You know, until more news and stuff come out. You know, this week we had Memorial's Day, and so wasn't that much news, but we were still able to have a topic.
Yeah.
And then it's just like with a lot of stuff focused on PlayStation State of Play. It's kind of good to have, like, you know, Nintendo not really have too big of an announcement because, like, of course, Pokemon and everybody loving Pokemon in the church, LeChonk.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Stephanie wouldn't stop talking about LeChonk last night. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even understand these words you're saying right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but it's fine.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be not saying it's gonna be quiet. I think it's just like once more things start to roll with Nintendo, we'll be able to talk more and stuff. Yeah. And everything. And I think once Microsoft and Nintendo shows their stuff and kind of everything else that happens at Summer Game Fest, because I'm looking for the Tribeca games that they show. They had a really good one last year, and I'm also looking forward to the Wholesome Games one for Summer Games, because I love the Wholesome Games. directs
Yeah.
and stuff.
Friend of show, Kim Chica, usually hosts the Wholesome Games.
And I love her. I love when she come on. She just got such a calming voice, but I just love her presence. Just it does something good. Then hopefully Wholesome Games also do another T-shirt. Um,
Yeah.
Because I brought one, once I seen it, I brought one. I'm just like, okay, I need to buy another one. Also, the PC Gaming Show, they're doing theirs in a couple of days too. And the PC Gaming Show has been really, really good.
Yeah. What was that game that you and Jesse really liked that came out of that?
Was it the short game?
No,
No.
Remnant from the Ashes.
Yeah, Remnant from the Ashes, which is not on. Is it on Switch yet?
No, it's on Game Pass though.
Ah,
It
I mean,
was for a while, at least. I don't know if it is anymore. I think it might be. If it's not, it's leaving soon.
yeah, because Wreckfest is coming to Switch.
Yeah, I saw that. So.
And yeah, because Remnant from the Ashes, I think that would be a good game for Switch if they ever decide to bring it. It may be too late, but I'm just like,
It's never too late for Switch to bring it to Switch, you know.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, look how many people double dipped and how many people are willing to wait, you know.
Cuphead is a prime example.
Yeah. I mean, Wolfenstein 2 also, right? I mean,
yeah.
Still one of the best kind of moments is when I saw that first, because I went to PAX where they showed it off, the gameplay, where they showed the gameplay off for the first time. And just seeing it run on Switch was like, I don't know how they did it, but Panic Button are wizards.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. There you are, just some wizards.
Man, I think if a company had bought Panic Button and Panic Button was forced to stop making ports for Switch, I think, man, that would be a big blow to Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Embracer Group bought Saber, and Saber's still porting games, so.
That is true. Which I wonder will Embracer Group do a direct next year or sometime in the future to show off their titles, because I
don't know. They seem like a company that's going to just let these games be shown off on a stage like Microsoft or Sony, right? That they just seem like they're investors and nothing more, you know.
Right, because like Tomb Raider 4 is probably going to be their biggest title.
Yeah,
when it comes to reviews.
Or a new Borderlands. They own Borderlands.
No, that is true.
Saints Row, Red Faction.
Saints Row.
They confirmed that a new Kingdoms of Amalur game is in development, along with the DLC for this current one. Like, they've got some IP now, man. Some major players: Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, Darksiders. They have a lot, dude. Like, a lot of games that I like.
Yeah. I think they're going to get the time and love and the marketing. Mm-hmm. I think that's what those games really need.
Yeah. I mean, if they, like... I mean, something that I think they've done really well, too, Embracer. I know a lot of people are mad because they own, like, I don't know, 120-something studios now. And they're just like really big, but I think what they do well is they know how to kind of cater their legacy content, you know, while they're waiting on getting new content out. And I know people will point that last year they lost $500 million. I'm like, yeah, but look how much they bought, you know?
Right.
They are clearly investing for the future, and they have other outlets too, right? Like Koch Media is not just a games company. They develop movies and TV shows, and you know, their game division lost $500 million, but look where they made it up. So I don't know. I think they have a lot. I think they have a lot to offer. I think their lineup could be interesting. Saints Row, the current reboot of Saints Row is like,
that looks so good, dude.
it's their first major AAA outing since they bought all these IP, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess Tiny Tina's Wonderlands you could kind of point to as that, but like Saints Row is like the first major game. And so they are going to show us what they've invested in, and I'm quite excited to see what this new Saints Row is.
Yes, that new Saints Row. I was just looking at the trailer. I'm like, oh, this is what was needed, because I never got to. I think I got to play it, but I didn't like it.
It was fine. You know, it's a game of its time.
Yeah, definitely Saints Row 2 and 3 are the. I think Saints Row 3 still is the highlight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are of that opinion.
You know, so and yeah, this reboot of the first one, like the remake, it just looks so polished. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really funny and everything. But the shooting looks fun. The gameplay looks engaging. There's just something about it that just speaks fun that I'm gonna sink a lot of time in.
I think that Saints Row is also a game that knows what it is. It's like it knows it's a game first, and they want to make sure that it's fun to play before they kind of wrap the game around it. And I think it's going to surprise some people. You know, I mean, obviously the last Saints Row entry was Agents of Mayhem, and that didn't really hit like they hoped it would.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but yeah, I want to see what this new Saints Row is about too.
Man, Agents of Mayhem is a game you literally just have to sit down with and just.
It was what I mean. I think I bought it for like $3 on an Xbox sale.
How about I got it for free at the Toys R Us closure?
It was it was worth the $3. That's all I have to say. But you know, I think that game could have been more interesting if it was multiplayer. But
yeah,
you know, it's fine.
Yeah, it kind of had like a wash machine kind of gameplay design, but like I think some of the characters were useful. The other characters, if they had better attack patterns, like use of weapons, I think they would have been better. The game would have been better. But it was funny story wise. It was funny. Gameplay was okay. I wouldn't say that it was a bad game or it's a failure or anything, but it really just felt kind of average.
Yeah.
And I really have a feeling that would be a good game on Switch with some updates, some quality assistance, you know, some QA fixtures and stuff. And yeah, put it on Switch for like $15 or $20.
Yeah.
You know, it just see how if there's gonna be any interest, because I'm like, I would love to have a sequel to the game, at least to conclude the story.
Yeah, I mean, I think with a little bit more fleshed out ideas and time and, you know, making it multiplayer, I think that game could have been something different. But also, like, when you give a game like that more time, you get something like Crackdown 3. So, what do I know?
Which I didn't have a problem with Crackdown 3.
I mean, I didn't either, but I wouldn't have paid $60 for it. But it was like it wasn't a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just became the butt of the Xbox One jokes because of all the things that they promised and then they took out of it because obviously they couldn't do what they promised. And that's not the current regime's fault. That's the previous one for promising that. But I don't know. Crackdown was fine. It was fun. I think it was a great Game Pass game.
I think the hype of the game, the marketing, and the delays like really hurt it. Because when the game came out, it wasn't. It really felt like they turned a lot around. Didn't feel like the game that they set out for it to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it clearly wasn't. I think the campaign was only 7 hours long, which is fine. Like, I don't mind short games, but
it's one of those games that, like, what happened to the development? Like, did people leave? Did
I think we know. Xbox changed their entire strategy and developers and leadership and marketing division and studios. Because that game was, who did that? Sumo Digital? And they got bought during that time too, so I don't know. Also, I think it just came to a point where they were like, we just have to cut our losses and just move forward, you know.
Yeah.
Terry Crews, though, great character.
Yeah.
Anyways, oh, Ed.
Yes.
I think it's time.
It's time for us to wrap. All right. Well, Corey, where can people find you?
Wow, really? That's it? That's where you're no energy to outro the show, Ed? You can find me at I am Corey HT on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on the Boss Rush podcast, as well as a plethora of other things here on the Boss Rush Network. Ed clearly doesn't have the energy to end the show correctly, you jerk.
Well, you guys can find me on Twitter at ThatBretcherCode and Instagram on ThatBretcherCode. You can check more of my energy on Nintendo Power Block that we record on Mondays, and also if you guys miss our live recordings, you can check it out on Wednesdays on our YouTube page on bossrush.net and on our podcast feeds of your choice. You can check us out there.
Oh, Ed, wait, hold on.
Yes.
Hold on, we have patrons to shout out.
Yes, Corey, shout out our patrons.
I forgot. So, patrons at the $5 tier are Patreon producers for this episode. So I want to make sure we don't miss that, because I think we missed it the last episode. Our Patreon producers for this episode of Nintendo Power Block Expansion Pass are Quentin Jackson, Rebecca Jewell, Adriel Munger, and my wife, Sana Derrick. I want to thank all of our patrons. I want to thank all of our free listeners. Remember, all of our content is free, but if you join us on Patreon, you get a few perks. Sorry, I didn't want to miss that. It's important.
Corey, I think I was just so laid back that my energy just like.
I thought about it earlier, but then we were having a conversation. I didn't want to end that conversation early, and then I forgot. Sorry, everybody.
Yes, we are though. Also, everybody on the road to 300. If you want to also be a part of it, we have merch on our Reddit store, Redbubble store. You guys can go to bossrush.net and go to the store, and they'll take you there. You can find out how to get some merch from us or from your favorite show or Boss Rush in general.
A lot of people buying stuff. That's
cool. Yes. So, Corey, I'm gonna let you exit out the show.
Why? No.
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm too laid back. I'm too chill.
Ed's like gonna fall asleep. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Wow, Ed, you all right? You feeling all right?